I've got to show you guys this chart. I've got to show you guys the weekly Bitcoin chart, the weekly candles. Something is not looking good for the moon. It might be time to think about the idea that Bitcoin could go lower from here, that we could see a pullback in the coming days for Bitcoin. I'm going to talk about what's going on and what this chart is telling us, what it's showing us, and why. Even though I'm bullish Bitcoin long term, even though I'm all about the revolution, I'm also a realist, and I'm also a day trader, and I'm also a trader in general, and I look for opportunities when there are opportunities. And well, I'm going to talk about what's going on here with the chart and what you should be looking for and what you should be thinking about and all of that fun stuff with Bitcoin right now, even after the halving. What should you be expecting? Talking about it right here in this video, so make sure you guys stay tuned. All right, so we're taking a look here at the 1 week chart. So each of these candles on this chart is 1 week, representing 1 week of price action. As you can see here, this is not rocket science. This is pretty much just cut and dry. Look at the overall trend from the $20,000 area back in 2017. We've had multiple attempts to break out of this overall downward trend, and we're having trouble, people. We are having trouble here at the $10,000 area. Now, I talked about this in a recent video, talking about how this could be a spot where we pull back still. It's not time to celebrate just yet. Now, the problem here with Bitcoin is that at the end of the day, Bitcoin's going to do whatever it wants to do, and it's going to go to the moon at some point. It's going to crash. It's going to do whatever it's going to do. That's why I talked about the other day why it was so important to understand the idea of cost averaging, to understand the idea that if you do buy Bitcoin, people, this is not something that you should put all your money into and just be like, hey, let's go to the moon now. It's a slow, I don't want to say painful process, but, you know, let's be realistic here. Let's be realistic, and let's talk about the idea that Bitcoin could go from $10,000, from this $9,000 area, and pull back down here to the $4,000 area again. I posted on Twitter the other day how I was totally fine with the idea of Bitcoin pulling back. Now, you can see the 200-day moving average here, that blue line on the chart. Guess what? It's right down here in the $6,000 area. So I think realistically, I'm looking for that $6,000 area for a pullback here on the weekly chart. If we can pull back down there to 6,000, we can get tight again and then look for the pop here. So we're basically like this. We're like 9,000 to 6,000, and then we're looking for the breakout of this overall downward trend. Because right now, look, it's just pretty obvious that we're not breaking out from this overall downward trend. So again, I don't want to be a bearer of bad news. I'm bullish Bitcoin long term, but I am thinking that we're going to get a pullback here as we can't break above 10,000. So pretty much anything under 10,500 at this point, there's a chance that we pull back. If we can break above 10,500, there's a chance we could go higher. And that's why it's so important to understand the idea. Like I said, cost averaging. Don't go and put $10,000 into Bitcoin in one day. Wait for a pullback. Wait for a key area. Like I said, 6,000, 4,000 after that. I mean, could it go lower than 4,000? Maybe. Maybe here. It could. Remember, there's nobody to step in and print more Bitcoin. There's nobody to step in and say, hey, we're not going to let Bitcoin crash. There's nobody stopping it from crashing. Bitcoin's going to do what it's going to do. And I'm just sitting back here and I'm buying the dips along the way. My long-term plan is just to keep putting money that I don't care about, money that I'm just going to waste anyway, money that I'm going to go out and buy something stupid with. Just keep doing that, right? Just keep spending money on Bitcoin instead. Instead of going out and buying something new, I'm going to be like, hey, I might buy a little bit of Bitcoin. You can see on the weekly chart as well, the RSI. I don't know if you guys can see it, but the RSI, people love to kind of trade off the RSI with Bitcoin and stuff. Right now, RSI is not really anywhere. It's like right in the middle between oversold and overbought. So we're right in the middle in the RSI there, and maybe this is kind of indicating we're going to get a pullback as well. The MACD as well on there. You can see the MACD is starting to curl up here. It just crossed people love to talk about, oh, the MACD crossed, but it also crossed here. It crossed here. So we've crossed what? 1, 2, 3. So the last time that it crossed to the upside, it went from what? It went from 8,000 to 10,000, and then it pulled back. It crossed there and then hammered all the way down to the 4,000. A lot of that was because of coronavirus and stuff. So now we're looking for this push higher as we get this cross here. But again, if we can't break above 10,000, well, then there's a good chance that we go lower from there. And like I said, looking for $6,000, $4,000 area to buy the dip. I'm loading up the boat. Give me 6,000, give me 4,000. I'm loading up the boat. I'm selling the boat, and then I'm loading up the boat with Bitcoin, people. That's my plan. That's my overall long-term strategy here for buying the dip, selling the rip, right? All right. So that's the game plan. We got to understand that even though I'm long-term bullish on Bitcoin, there's still a pretty clear trend here. Pretty clear trend from that all-time high, back down there to 12, back down there to 10, and then 10 again, getting touched and having resistance. It's not rocket science. It's just the way the world works. Well, it's just reality that we're still getting stuck below this downtrend, even when the halving, even when the world's so about Bitcoin. Everyone's like, Bitcoin. At the end of the day, there's always a chance that Bitcoin could go lower from here. And that's why it's so important to only invest what you're willing to lose and only invest what you don't need today and you're not worried about. I think that's the best way to put it. If you're worried about what you have invested in Bitcoin and every single day Bitcoin moves, if Bitcoin goes up 1%, it goes down 2%, and you're worried about that, well, then you might have too much money invested. It might be time to take a little bit of profit. It might be time just to kind of cool it off a little bit. For me, a lot of times, I'm not even checking the price of Bitcoin. There's days where I don't even check it because I just don't care at this point. At this point, I just don't care. I'll buy the dip. I'll buy it at a lower price. I'll keep averaging down till I'll buy lower here. It doesn't matter. I'm totally fine with that. Long term, like I said, I'm investing money that I'm not worried about, that I'm totally fine with losing, and that's my game plan. We're looking for 6,000. We're looking for 4,000 after that. Can it happen? Yes. Can Bitcoin go to the moon as well? Yes, it can. That's why we're trading. That's why we're traders, and we look for opportunities in the volatility, and we look for opportunities to make money with my money. So there it is. If you guys haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, all those buttons down below. We got a lot more Bitcoin stuff coming up. It's going to be a couple crazy years to come for the cryptocurrency world. And, well, guess who's breaking the news? Right here, Patrick Whelan, the number one day trading channel. So, talk to you guys later on.